made me more happy than you know. But whatever happens, you can't fall in love with me.
Easier said than done, right? What's an ex-soldier to say? But if love is what we're looking for,
I think we found a lot of it within the absolute epicness of the recent Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer. Square Enix has put a lot of love into the penultimate chapter of the Final Fantasy VII Remake project, and it shows.
good to see you, gamers. Shep here from Gaming Introspection. We feature a lot of retrospective content here, but every now and then I like to speculate on the future. And despite answering many questions, Final Fantasy VII's Rebirth trailer offers players tons of speculation.
Who's this guy? A member of Organization 13? What is Elmira, Aerith's foster mother, doing, standing casually beside Zack like it's no big deal as he carries Cloud into Midgar? Why is Tifa swimming around in what looks to be the life stream with one of the weapons in it? And for the love of God, what is Cloud doing riding on a Segway in Costa del Sol?
This mode of transportation was uncool the moment it went public. There's entire movies that make fun of it.
He tears through environments just fine on his feet. I'm not sure what purpose this could possibly serve.
But let's get down to business here.
The common groan among fans leading into this monumental Final Fantasy entry has most everything to do with the Whisper Ghosts that were sometimes friendly, sometimes foes in Final Fantasy VII Remake. What we can't deny though is that this destiny-altering plot device means that there's not anything set in stone moving forward.
Wouldn't be the first time I spit in Destiny's eye.
I'd like to chime in with a few hopes and worries that I have with this mega, worldwide spanning, leap year launching, 2-disc promoting, 3-month PS5 exclusiving, $500 million worth of producing, AAA Square Enix title, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. As Lady Unalesca said towards the conclusion of Final Fantasy X, hope is comforting. So, we'll start with the hopes first.
And stick with us until the end as we negotiate the potential fallout from this tranquil, honest moment between one of the most frequently shipped character pairings in video game history.
And hey, if you find value here, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it.
Okay then.
This is just insane looking. There are so many smart decisions Square Enix is making here.
The battles seem ready to embrace the unique fighting styles of the party even more than Remake did. Cait Sith has always been the robotic cat character, who simply controls the mechanical Mog. So to have him fighting on his own with certain attacks, before summoning the Mog to bring some extra pain, is just brilliant. Fans are dying to play as Red 13, and finding out all of his extra abilities and quick fighting styles after having him teased in the 2020 game. More impressive and surprising are these insane combo attacks, listed as synergy attacks in an interview with IGN. They feature character combinations that don't seem to make any sense whatsoever. Barret and Yuffie hardly interact in the franchise's lore, but here he is, using his Mr. T biceps to hurl the ninja girl through some sort of materia energy portal and deal critical damage. Then there's Aerith mixing things up with the help of Cait Sith, turning it into some kind of god Mog.
If these random combinations are this good, imagine what the core pairings could be capable of.
I want to see Tifa and Cloud dolphin-kicking reptiles into blade beams. Let's pair up Vincent and Barret to execute a ridiculous Ungarmax gunslinging combo attack. Why not have Red and Cait Sith perform a bizarre anime technique that emphasizes the comedic vibes of Final Fantasy VII and their otherworldly features? It's all giving me Chrono Trigger vibes, where the most unique skills of every party member are being utilized to the benefit of crazy, unrealistic, but awesome attacks that defy what we thought was possible before.
Another positive that I'm taking from the trailer is that it looks like it's going to retain a lot of what made the fighting so fun and tactical in Remake.
Final Fantasy VII Remakes combat is simply the best I've experienced in an RPG. If you want to keep it close to the original and pause between every major attack and spell, the tactical mode offers that. If you want to really get into the dodging, parrying, character switching, and shortcut keys to keep the flow going and the pace unrelenting, it lets you do that too. The same icons, ATB bars, and button commands to change modes, similar to how Cloud shifts from Operator to Punisher mode, are all present in the same place with a similar UI, and given it's less than half a year from release, it's not going to change a crazy amount. This is smart. It rewards players who have experience with the first entry and helps make Rebirth feel like a real continuation of the story, instead of forcing players to learn a whole new set of mechanics. As I mentioned before, there's already tons of new things that are being integrated anyway, so having a familiar base model for fighting was a smart move.
This was my favorite part of the trailer, not gonna lie.
It was already shown in a few snippets in the reveal trailer last year that there's a retelling of the flashback scene involving Sephiroth and Cloud in the Nibelheim incident 5 years prior to the story's setting. But seeing them in active combat, with Sephiroth going, "On me," with them holding out their combined 16 feet of steel in a battle stance, followed instantly with the two of them taking on crazy mutated monsters together? This is a die-hard fan's dream. In the original, it was mostly just this awesome dragon fight that made Cloud look like a total noob and Sephiroth like a god, followed by a few battles as they climbed through the mountain, and that was it. Cloud was absolutely useless throughout this entire section. This time, it looks like Cloud will actually have some amazing team tactics and combat sense. That's slightly more impressive than just dying instantly and seeing Sephiroth carry Cloud through the whole thing. He's always envisioned himself as a former first-class soldier who had exemplary skill, when in actuality, it was like, yeah. This would make it hit even harder when it's revealed that Cloud was just actually an infantryman.
The combat is my main wish, and I think it's the most likely element to be expanded here, but oh man, they could do so much with this. I think by powering Cloud up like they seem to be doing here, it would make his delusional backstory make a lot more sense, at least from his point of view.
We could even dare to dream of seeing more of what Sephiroth was like before he learned of his true origins. Get a few glimpses of a sense of humor, or the heroism that so many people on Gaia looked up to. Have some more interactions between Cloud, Tifa, and Sephiroth as they traverse through Nibelheim, the mountain, and the reactor. I know some of his past is explored in recent releases like Ever Crisis, but come on. That's basically a cash grab mobile device excursion. It'd be great to see a more human version of Sephiroth in a pure Final Fantasy VII game context. Oh, and just one final thing on these two. I hope we get some kind of clarification on what was meant by this.
7 seconds till the end. Time enough for you, perhaps. But what will you do with it? Let's see.
Why 7 seconds? Because it's Final Fantasy VII? No, but seriously, is there gonna be like a split decision you have to make that's gonna split the narrative in half at the conclusion?
Sephiroth is the king of cryptic storytelling, and we'll see more evidence of this later on in the video.
I miss it. The steel sky.
Well, I'm sorry, Aerith, but I am glad that it's gone. I am stoked about the breadth of this world, which is manifested most clearly by the scenes of Cloud literally rock climbing and freely gliding around beautifully crafted open vistas that burst with a spectacle that the PS4 simply couldn't have handled. It became clearer from every second of watching this trailer how impossible this would have been on old-gen technology. Seeing the updated buggy vehicle is actually a big deal, as its river crossing capabilities in the original meant you could explore a large chunk of the planet before even getting the more elaborate transportation modes. Speaking of which, all this exploration via Chocobo, which, as the Game Fest trailer confirms, you're able to call upon when needed, gives me hope that there will be that intricate breeding system at the Chocobo farm. Likewise, it's amazing to see that gold saucer lift ushering Cloud and friends to the hugest minigame plaza of any RPG to date. That low polygon model of Cloud in the boxing minigame, barely altered from the original Final Fantasy VII, made more than a few of us grin ear to ear. I just know it. They even confirmed that you can revisit that motorbike scene, which is there in the old gold saucer of Final Fantasy VII as well. And the Chocobo racing experience looks like it's ushering and thriving. I just hope everything else is here. I'm talking the play scene with Cloud and his date. Which reminds me, who are you keen on taking into the Gold Saucer's romantic venues? I'll always be pro Cloud Tifa, but I know the Barrett Cloud contingent has something loud to say about that. I also hope the battle arena and all of its rare, hard-to-get prizes that can only be done through huge risk and rewards with the disabling system is implemented, and that the Coliseum in Remake was just a prelude to an even more bombastic combat experience. I'm very encouraged.
Can you believe it? I don't think anyone saw this coming!
We even have an updated version of the flamboyant, egocentric Gold Saucer owner Dio, who looks slightly more detailed than his original version.
Yep, this is what qualified as revolutionary graphics over a quarter century ago. Anyone born in the new millennium is probably recovering from the eye-searing pain that occurred just by looking at it. You have no idea how good you have it.
Adding even more to the Gold Saucer, Square Enix was smart to include new characters from the remake, like Andrea Rodea. It's just a perfect fit. Maybe it means we'll see this again. Okay, enough about that place. The rest of the world, like Junin, looks just as finely crafted. We even see that military marching minigame in full force here, with button commands enabling Cloud to change his formation. Even minor mini-bosses, like the underground beta spell spewing snake in the marshes, and that flying serpent leviathan-like enemy you encounter after saving Priscilla from drowning. They get some amazing attention to detail. For this one throwaway boss battle, to be given this much care makes me thrilled at how Square Enix is handling Rebirth. It reminds me of how that random, bizarre Hell House enemy was redrafted into a shocking part of the arena plot in Wall Market within Remake. I think we can look forward to even more of our favorite memories being reintroduced in a glorious reiteration.
Wait, was that all of them?
I'm just not sure how all of this is supposed to work.
So, we're gonna be seeing two different Clouds in two alternate dimensions? Or timelines? Or something? Is he just going to vanish into the background with this Kairi girl? Who, by the way, was just an awful character in Remake. She spouts crap and lies about Avalanche, demands that jobless people pay her for spewing these rumors, makes Cloud and company enter an arena fight for a wager she made with the wrong people, and oh wow, she's just bad news.
Learn your lesson, girl?
Totally. From now on, I only steal from the right people.
That ain't the lesson.
So Zack doing this represents a very poor judgment of character, and doesn't make him seem like he even knows what he's doing. But anyway, back to my point, is Cloud just gonna remain hidden away while Zack bums around Midgar? And is he just going to be limited to the exact same geography that all of us have memorized from Remake? Just a bunch of reused assets and passageways? Is he going to rebuild Seventh Heaven at least?
Or wait, no. In this timeline, which is alternate and also slightly in the past, no bombs have gone off and Seventh Heaven is still fine, right? So is Zack gonna just be recruited by Tifa or something? Are they gonna have this hardcore romance? While Cloud just withers away like that cloaked reunion bloke in the remake?
Or is he even playable? Is this just going to be a bunch of cinematic scenes that show how things might have played out if Zack had survived that 1,000 against 1 crazy-ass encounter?
I just don't know how Square intends to balance all of this.
Say you're playing in the remake timeline with Cloud and the gang. You're busting out some awesome combos, exploring around with chocobos. You just make it to Cosmo Canyon. Bugenhagen is doing his planetary spiel, and the characters are all like, OMG, that's dope. And suddenly, this awful blackout happens with text that says, meanwhile, and then suddenly you're Zack doing pull-ups in the gym with that Jules trainer incessantly shouting at you. I knew you could do it. Oh, that would be a bit jarring to say the least. Players likely are familiar with Zack. He's been shown in almost every major FF7 spin-off and even has a whole game dedicated to him. I get why Square wants him as part of this, but fans bought the remake expecting to experience Cloud's journey again, with Zack in his proper place as a background player who is key to the revelations that occur in the main story. But now, all bets are off, as we know. So, who knows what plans there are? I just worry Zack will take center stage more than he should. This is Cloud's story. It's Final Fantasy VII. This isn't Crisis Core or Dirge of Cerberus or any of those other things. The ramifications this could have threaten to dilute this experience at the least, or at the worst, create a whole bunch of mind-hurting, reality-shifting occurrences that might make Kingdom Hearts lore seem linear and perfectly sensible. And that scares me.
This one will be short, and I know it's only the second part of what's to be a planned trilogy, but to not have Cid anywhere in this supposedly 100-hour game?
He hasn't been shown once in either the Game Fest trailer months ago, nor this one.
Granted, he is the last party member to join in the original Final Fantasy VII, and he appears after, well, we all know what event he appears after.
But it just seems ridiculous to introduce all of the other characters, which are confirmed in these amazing scenes in the trailer, and not even mention Cid. Going back to the battle system again, it would be bizarre to cleverly and seamlessly add the other party members into the established remade combat scheme, which worked so well in the 2020 game, and then bolster this with unique tag team attacks that bond the entire party and experience, only to have Cid have to wait out another whole entry and then finally get his spear-stabbing, chain-smoking, foul-mouth swearing in a rushed climactic third entry, which would likely make his role very diminished and more just a plot device with the high wind travel he can provide. It was just odd to have him not anywhere to be found in the 3-minute trailer. Not to mention, the timeline and path of events are all being retold and mixed up in crazy ways.
If Tifa's in the livestream here, that's Disc 2 stuff.
It wouldn't be a stretch to create a circumstance where Cid would need to appear earlier for some reason. Alas, this doesn't appear to be the case.
You know what else sucks?
In a very recent IGN interview, Rebirth's development team has pegged Vincent as simply another guest character, meaning he'll interact in battles similarly to how Red did in the last game. That is so lame. They shouldn't be nerfing the impact of other significant characters. Vincent is a fan favorite. Well, I mean, everyone is a fan favorite, but not every FF7 character has a game that they have a starring role in. Not having him fully playable, especially given the ridiculous limit break forms he can manifest, is abysmal. So I'm worried he won't be given nearly as much to do or say, despite his huge role in past events, some of which are directly concerning Sephiroth's family.
Everyone dies eventually.
I suppose.
Cloud could not have handled that any worse, am I right? Anyway, this is just, well, it's kind of everybody's biggest hope and worry. Will Square Enix reef on the heartstrings of gamers? This time, 2 generations of gamers? Once again?
You can't fall in love with me. Even if you think you have, it's not real.
Aerith is saying this because it's just a vision Cloud's experiencing. But is there more to it than that? She has so much knowledge of future events. It's likely Aerith is not the same Aerith from our memories. So even if she's alive and well, it's confusing. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not MatPat. While we can debate how effective a meta approach was in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I will do in a future episode, the fact that they've basically eliminated a set destiny means that there's infinite possibilities for character fates now.
Do I get a say in all this?
The striking honesty of Cloud's interactions with Aerith, they've effectively stoked the flames for what might be coming.
Everything is so up in the air. Square Enix could very well be baiting and switching, as in like, oh, we're going to change everything, luring us into a false sense of security that Aerith will be alive and well. But is she really as safe as we want? It's just too optimistic and cheery right now. Both Zack and Aerith are experiencing a possible future where they both survive. Where are the emotional stakes if everything just works out this wonderfully? Another thing I just thought of, realistically, how can this plot point be completely altered without revamping absolutely everything that happens in the second half of the game?
Sephiroth is still going to summon Meteor, right? And thus, Holy is still going to have to be called upon. And if Aerith is there to do all of that and not get interrupted like the original, then, well, maybe there's a whole other chain of events that's going to have to take the plot's place, right? And if that's the case, how much would that anger fans to just cheap out and make Sephiroth's original plan completely null and void? Finally, it's just a conundrum to think of Aerith's possible demise if we insist on our original experience with the game. Of course, having her live is a happier reality for everyone. And yet, it's ridiculous to even say out loud, but doesn't part of us want this scene to happen faithfully like the original? What could possibly top the motivation of Cloud and the party more than Sephiroth doing what he does in that ancient city? If Aerith lives, what emotional sucker punch is going to come in to replace it? Actually, let's take a look into the realm of tragic character deaths even further. If you watch the previous trailer right until the end, Sephiroth states that Tifa was actually killed in the reactor while trying to avenge her father. But this could just be cryptic false tellings, or only true in that other timeline, maybe the one that Zack is currently in? So, is Sephiroth just weaving through fates as he pleases now? Maybe Tifa is who we should be worried about. It's all very unnerving.
But one thing's for sure, it's on the horizon, and it'll be here before we know it. Whenever I hear about all the negativity directed towards Final Fantasy VII Remake as a project, I just take a deep breath and tell myself to be grateful that it's even happening at all.
This is a game that's come into existence because of how loved it's become among video game fans across the world. We're lucky to be on another precipice of unforgettable gaming moments, and I hope you, me, and everyone else enjoys Rebirth for what it is, even if not everything pans out exactly the way we're envisioning. Maybe that title has an additional meaning for any millennial gamers like me. It's not too late to witness a rebirth of our gaming passion.
With all that said, what are your hopes and worries for this next Final Fantasy VII chapter? Please let me know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe for some more in-depth looks and recollections and retrospectives of all your favorite gaming franchises. Good to see you, gamers. Please take care of yourselves.